So today we are going to talk about a topic called invisible killer and how electromagnetic radiation endangers our homes, right? So here we are is with Dr. Juliana Samuel, and I call it a dialogue with Dr. Juliana Samuel. It's because we have every time we have a seminar like this, sometimes it can become very rigid. We have a lot of informations, but I tend to learn better when I ask questions. How many of you are like that? I learn better by asking questions. So I want to make today's a relaxed one, and so that we can come in and ask Dr. Juliana what does she think about this uh electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so Dr. Juliana, you have a lot of this MBBS, MAFP. Would you tell us a little bit your
So my primary degree is from Manipal, India. That's when I qualified as a doctor. Then I went on to become a family physician, and I'm registered as a family physician in Malaysia as well as in Australia. But I also traveled the world seeking out nutritional programs, holistic programs, because about 12 years ago, my mother had breast cancer, and she, being a nursing sister, refused the conventional therapies because she watched patients die of terrible side effects from cancer therapy. So I couldn't lose my mother, and therefore I went around the world looking for cures. And in that process, I started learning about the different modalities of healing cancer and other autoimmune disease, all chronic illnesses, using natural means, from herbal therapies to vitamin therapies, as well as anything that will enhance your own health. So that's how my journey began about 12 years ago. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen your mother before.
Yeah.
She's now healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's 83 years old and she's survived breast cancer for the past 12 years. So,
Well,
yeah.
she never took any chemotherapy or
Nope.
whatever.
She had
She
her
just refused.
surgery and then she never had any other therapy after that.
Wow, and today she's cancer free and
Yep.
healthy.
Yep.
Right? So that's it. So I have for knowing you for so many years, maybe about 8 years now.
Yep.
You have been to many conferences like
Yep.
that. Have you been a lot in Europe, right?
Yes. Yeah, primarily in Switzerland and Germany.
Yeah. Why Switzerland and Germany?
Because they are the center for holistic care. So they actually integrate allopathy, which is the chemo and radio and all that integrative and all the regular medication for cancer, but they also tie it in with nutrition and holistic care, which is using herbal therapies or using natural means to heal the person as a whole, not just targeting the cancer per se. Because remember, the person is a whole person, it's not just the cancer itself. Yeah.
I see. Okay, right. Now that's the reason that I invited Dr. Juliana. She's a good friend, our family doctors, but she's one lady doesn't like to give medicines. Right? She will try whatever other ways, if there's possible, natural ways to help first. If not, then maybe medicines or other treatments may come in. Right, that's why we are with her. So let me just go straight into our topics today. We are going to talk about today the impact of EMR on our children, impact on EMR on our brain health and sleep, how it affects our DNA and cancer risk, effect on fertility, including sperm count, and also what and how to prevent it. Yeah. Okay, so let me start like this. Guys, when we were young, this is the kind of games that we play, right? But today, children, they play games like that. Have you seen children who cannot have their proper meal without a phone, without a tablet in front of them? They cannot have their meals. This is the kind of situations, but you can't blame them because this is how they live up, grow up with. They go to schools. They are actually using all the gadgets for schools. Adults are the same thing. It's not just the children. We are surrounding ourselves with gadgets, with electrical goods, right? So here's the problem: electromagnetic radiation. Now, this is a book cover from CAP, Consumer Association of Penang. Guys, if you have this book, please keep it, don't throw it. This is Wonderful book. Okay, many years ago, probably about 8, 9 years ago, Consumer Association of Penang, they came up with this book. It was selling in this what do you call it? Popular bookstores, and is meant to educate the public what is the risk in electromagnetic radiations. So this is where our topic is the invisible killer. This is from this book, something that we cannot see but is endangering our families, right? So, Dr. Juliana, first question: what is EMR?
So electromagnetic radiation is a kind of non-ionizing radiation. Well, there's a spectrum to it actually. The non-ionizing radiation comes from, your towers where you have your telephone towers, you have all your electronic gadgets, even from your lights at home to little gadgets and the phones that you use. Then you have the ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation comes from X-rays, nuclear activity, anything that is beyond our control, which is made to actually destroy Mother Earth, and those things are ionizing radiation. So EMR comes from all of these things, but there is non-ionizing which is in our control, but the ionizing which is not in our control.
So today we are not talking about the ionizing like nuclear bomb, all those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Like this kind of radiations.
Yeah.
But today we are more talking about the non-ionizing radiations that is in every home. Is it in every home?
It is in everyone's home. Yep.
Wow. Okay. So we can't see it, but it is there, right?
Yes. Okay. So these are the wavelengths of different kinds of gadgets, from ionizing to non-ionizing. The X-ray and the radionuclear material become ionizing, and these at home are all your non-ionizing radiation devices, as you can see, from your handphones, earphones, to your lamps, your lights, to even the television, anything that has electricity plugged onto it or is supplied by electricity. So these are things which are invisible to our eyes, but what your eye doesn't see doesn't mean that your mind doesn't comprehend either, because the very presence of an invisible killer is very much present.
Wow. It looks like my house got a lot.
Yes, all of us do. We're surrounded by it at work, at home, everywhere.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the danger of electromagnetic radiations. Okay, first of all, there are so many waves, right? So what do you mean by hazardous waves?
So the WHO has quantified non-ionizing radiation to be hazardous if it is above 100 kilohertz by international standards. Yeah.
Well, that is about like most of the waves in the house, right?
Most of it. Yeah.
Most of it.
Yes.
But you were saying that this is hazardous, but actually there is still a difference between hazardous and then dangerous.
And yes, and to be cautious. So dangerous includes all our handphones. If you scroll down in your handphones, you will see a warning sign in your setting that says that it's actually dangerous to health.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Now, let me start with the first question, right? So I have actually did some research. These are from internet. You guys can search it. This is where I have been waiting for a chance to ask a medical doctor what is their view on this. So this is from PubMed. This is in 2023, guys. Wireless technologies, non-ionizing electromagnetic fields, and children, identifying and reducing health risks. So this is a report by 7 medical doctors, PhDs, and in this research, they actually measured children and adults' absorptions of the radiations. Okay, they put the phone in the ears, they put the phone in the nose. Why in the nose? Actually, they are checking VR. Virtual realities, so in the ears, so they simulate it, and this is what they found out. They said children absorb proportionally more RFR, radio frequency radiation than adults, about twofold greater in the pediatric cerebellum, tenfold greater in the bone marrow of the skull, up to 30-fold greater in the hippocampus. Even the eyes can absorb 2 to almost 5 times higher doses than adults. What do you think about this?
Oh, that's very true because the hippocampus part is in particularly scary because we are seeing more the higher trend of attention deficit hyperactivity disorders in children nowadays because of this problem, because it will interfere with the good hormones that stabilize your moods, which are your dopamine, serotonin, and all these are produced in that part of the brain. Now, the part of the brain that deals with your balance and which is your cerebellum is
Cerebellum.
also very, very affected by the radiation, and that's why more children are having like imbalances, you know, they have neurological deficits, and these are actually attributed by the radiation that they're exposed to every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to a lot of parents. Usually, talk about children. They talk about the diets. They talk about the nutritions. Seldom got parents talk about all this.
The reason being because most parents think that the gadget becomes like a pseudo babysitter for them, thinking that they have their own time to play with their own gadgets, but it ends up that the children's brains and overall health are greatly affected by this. So, due to the larger surface area in babies, infants, children, and constant exposure to EMF, this affects the rapidly dividing cells that assist in growth. The cellular damage in turn can lead to autism, ADHD, a lot of thyroid dysfunction, metabolic disturbances, and abnormal cell functions. And abnormal cell functions can be very deep inside, which is causing like metabolic disorders or cancer. On the surface, it can cause a lot of skin issues, neurological deficits. So these are concerns that have been addressed by the medical field, but it's a very new field of medicine. So people are trying to identify causes of psychological problems in children which are attributed to EMFs, okay, rather than bringing it to the cellular level. If you bring it to the cellular level, I'm not sure what will happen because we are in an era that everybody depends on gadgets.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to doctors before about autism and ADHD. Normally, they all agree that there's no medicines to take care of this. So usually they will handle it with nutritions, right? But hardly I heard anybody talks about EMF.
Yeah, because this is a very silent and unseen enemy, basically. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so this is children. So obviously the brain's impact. What about adults?
Yeah. So adults are also affected. I myself had this huge problem with because I'm constantly on my phone, even up to the time I have to sleep, answering patients, queries and actually doing my own research before I go to sleep. And I'm guilty of using my gadget before I sleep. And my husband is no better with his phone because he has his work to deal with. And oftentimes I'll wake up with a very, very severe headache. So many studies have been done showing that EMF at night has more severe effects on our health, especially on the brain compared to EMF radiation during the daytime. This disruption mainly is because it's a constant insult to a small organ in the brain called the pineal gland. That's
Pineal
right.
gland.
Yeah, that's in the front of the brain, which regulates the sleep hormone called melatonin. Oftentimes, people take melatonin to fall asleep, but if you are slowly cooking your brain using EMFs, the melatonin you take externally will not even help you because you need to create your own melatonin.
I see.
Yeah, that's why sleeping in a dark room is not good enough. You need to be away from radiation, EMF
Wow.
radiation.
How important is sleep to humans' health?
Sleep is extremely important because sleep controls how your metabolic activity happens, how your cellular regeneration happens, and it actually determines your life, whether your life expectancy is going to be short or long. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about dementias, Parkinson's, all
So
this?
the other thing is it also affects the brain. There's newer onset of dementia, Parkinson patients, because tremors, memory loss, neurological deficits are all seen in EMF overexposure. So are we really documenting dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's as just merely a degenerative disease, or whether it is actually attributed and accelerated by the exposure to
What
EMF?
is the common understanding now among the medical?
So basically, they consider that as we age, our hormones in our brains decline, and therefore, it makes us more inclined to getting all these degenerative diseases. However, we are seeing younger patients having all these issues right now, not only the aged community. So why is it?
So we can't blame it
Yes,
to age,
we
right?
can't always blame it on age. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So people have done studies now to actually see what happens when the brain is overly exposed to EMFs by doing this a study called brain encephalograms to actually study what happens on an overexposed brain to all these EMFs as opposed to without being exposed.
Yeah, often we when we talk about EMF with friends, sometimes those, especially those are Gen X or boomers, they will say that, oh, we don't use so much gadgets like the younger generations, but yet the boomers are the one that is in danger of this, right?
Yes.
It's dementia and Parkinson's. Okay, I put out some informations, and this is what I found: autism rates by country.
Yes.
All right. So look at the top 10 countries with the highest autism rate in the world, and 2 of them are Malaysia's neighbors. Okay, I'm so happy that Malaysia is not here. I don't know whether it's number 11 or higher, but you can see Brunei and Singapore are actually in this. Is it really bad?
Yeah, because they are supposed to be developed nations with the ability to buy more gadgets or more electronics, and they're constantly surrounded with far more EMF activity, for sure.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's you can see. Okay, top 10 countries with highest autism rate. Brunei and Singapore is in it. Brunei is number 7, Singapore is number 9, right? Okay, number 1, UK. All right. Then the other one, this dementia cases set to rise 300% by 2050. Are we ready? Okay, so the report says that dementia in Malaysia is estimated at 0.126%, but by 2050, it will be 0.454%. It will be 3 times higher. Wow. This is dementia. Is it that bad? Have you seen a lot of cases?
So urbanization has brought about this problem because as more people move to the cities and you have better facilities, you have, you buy a better house with, better lit with all these LED devices, you can afford to buy lots of gadgets in the kitchen like the microwave and ovens and, assisting devices in the kitchen itself to make your cooking easier, like a Thermomix and everything like that. So all these things have their own emission of EMFs. On the top of that, you have your own personal devices like laptops, telephones. So I'm not surprised that the cases of dementia will be going up. And yes, we have seen them going up slowly and gradually on a very sharp incline.
Wow. So the topic is Malaysia prepared? What about, is our family prepared if it happens in our family? A lot of families will not be prepared for this, right? Okay. So what about the other effects of EMF on adults?
So many adults often complain, besides their work stress and everything like that, but are they getting enough rest in their brains to actually rest completely when they're asleep? Because many people will have fatigue, tiredness, difficulty in concentration, heart palpitations, digestive disorders, ringing in the ears called tinnitus, dizziness called vertigo, skin irritations, numbness, neurological deficits. These are these may be attributed to EMF as well.
And these are all research.
Yes,
This is all proven that
correct.
it could
Yeah.
be linked to it.
Yes, I'm not saying that EMF is completely contributing to it, but it may be a big contributor.
The problem is, how do we know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can go through seminars like that, you know, this is bad, but come back to your own room, come back to your own house, you suspect there may be a lot of EMF there, but you can't see, right? That's the
Right.
problem, right? Okay, but I do have a video I want to show you guys. Actually, this is me. I took this video about 1 month ago, and in my hand, I'm holding a radiation detector. So this is a gadget to measure is there any EMF there. Now I'm standing in the middle of the road. Just look at this. Let's do a test whether this place have any electromagnetic radiation or not. Oh, overload. Everywhere overload. Why? Because of this. This is in Sanakan Malfa, and because of this, everywhere the houses here all staying here, this area has an overload of electromagnetic radiation. Yeah, so I was there. This way I was in Sandakan Mount 5 Junyuan there. Alright, so when they told me about the power station there, and that's immediately I said I want to go there and make a video. It is true. When I use the detector, every place is overloaded. You know, now that detector is an accurate one. So if I go to an open space padang like that, it will show zero. It wouldn't have anything. If I go into near the gadget, then it may sound. But that was taken in the middle of the video, on the road. You know, yet it is overload. Now, how could it be? I see there are so many houses so near to the thing. Is it common?
So the town councils only allow these structures to come up a minimum of 200 meters away, which is not enough.
Wow, that doesn't look like 200 meters, by the way.
The law is
It doesn't
200
look like
meters
200
away.
meters. Yeah, I need a
But
law.
in your picture, it didn't look like 200 meters away.
Yeah, and I heard that in UK it's 1 kilometer.
Yeah.
I heard that in UK 1 kilometer.
Malaysia is just 200.
Yeah,
So
because Malaysia more developed, right? Okay, yeah, okay, I want to stop it. All right, so you all can see from the video how near is it, okay? So this kind of videos I have taken 3 places already, all next to either the houses, or there was one that I was taken next to it is the shop lot. The shop lot is actually a school where the children is.
That's
You
so
know,
sad.
it was very sad, that one. Okay, they just moved in and now they cannot move out. You know what? Even though they have seen this, it's overloaded with the EMR, but they just cannot move out. It's too late. They already moved in. Yeah. All right. Then what about this? When you first mentioned to me that actually EMF also affect our DNAs, then may also increase the cancer risk. Now, I know about cancer. I heard about this before. But what about DNA? What do you mean by that?
So the cells in our body are constantly exposed to EMF, and they may constantly cause mutation in the DNA level, and this in turn will increase the predisposition to cancer cases. Gene mutation is a leading cause of cancer cell formation. So imagine, right, you are exposing pregnant mothers to EMF radiation. The fetus is at risk to develop genetic abnormalities and even cancer in the womb.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's shocking, but it's a reality. And cancer patients who already have abnormal circulating cells will find it very hard to get well in their bodies if they're constantly bombarded with EMF radiation. So no matter how good their treatments are, or their diets may be, and their lifestyles may be, but it will be really hard to overcome cancer if they have a constant bombardment from EMFs.
Oh, so you're saying that those people with cancer,
Right.
sometimes they doesn't recover, or they doesn't recover fast enough is because the EMF.
Yep.
That-
Or maybe relapsed. They may have
Oh,
relapses. Yeah.
they may have relapsed because of
Mm-hmm.
EMF. Wow, that's that's bad, you know.
Yeah.
We already know that cancer patients supposed to change the diets, all these kind of things. That
Yeah.
is just already very difficult for some of them,
Correct.
reluctant to change the
Yeah.
diet, things like
Yeah.
that. But this EMF is something that they cannot see.
Correct. Yeah. So this is the risk that EMF poses to everyone, and for cancer patients, it's even worse.
Okay. Don't know what to say. All right. So I got some. This is another report, right? I have been hoping to ask somebody on this. I heard about this. I don't care about when people tell me about it, but when I saw the reports, that's where I don't know where to put my handphone now. Okay, so this is the report. The effects of radio frequency electromagnetic radiation on sperm function. How bad is
Okay.
that?
So as a man, I know you're very concerned about this, but not only men are affected, women also are affected. Can you go to the next slide?
Mm.
So EMF affects on fertility and sperm count. So EMF has a detrimental effect on the thyroid gland in particular. The thyroid gland is the master gland producing hormones for regulation, and this undergoes a battering from these radiation and renders this gland very weak or hyperactive, and thereby interfering with proper production of hormones, especially in women. So that's why you see the rates of infertility is on the incline due to this. Now, for men, it is a norm to carry your handphones in the trouser pocket, right? Yeah, this habit is directly radiating a vital organ, and hence it causes a sharp decline in sperm counts and normal spermatozoa.
Wow. So where do
Yeah.
we put? I can't put in my
So
trousers. I can't put in my pocket here where my heart is.
yeah, so you have to think of a way.
Then someone says, then don't talk on the phone. Use Bluetooth. But I know Bluetooth is even worse, right?
It's even worse. The radiation comes closer to the brain.
Well, come closer to the brain and see inside your ears. Okay. Okay. So don't think that Bluetooth is safer way. Okay. It is not.
Yeah.
So wow. Okay. Okay. I have two boys, 18, 19 years old already. So I'm happy. But it is not good for health, right?
Yes.
Still, it's not good for health.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now this is a bit personal, but Dr. Juliana, have you encountered any cases that you suspect, these actual cases in the clinic, that you suspect that that condition is actually related to EMR?
Yeah, so there are two spectrums. I have had, because I treat cancer patients, and sadly, there were a few years ago when I encountered, few cancer patients that were living in one particular area. It was actually an apartment which, on their right side of that, there was a huge um, tower, electrical tower, and four out of of those patients actually, three out of those four patients actually died of cancer, and the one that actually lived was actually the one that decided to move out of the apartment. So that was alarming, and we never understood why.
Three cancer in the same building.
Four cancer
Four cancer in the
patients,
same
yeah,
building.
three of them passed away, and one actually moved out, and he's the only survivor till date.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was something like they had some, superstitious belief that there was something wrong with the building,
Okay.
and people were debating it. But what actually transpired was that there was this huge pole of transmitting tower next to their apartment. So I'm beginning to wonder what was the real cause of all their cancers being driven, and all those patients were treated by oncologists. So it wasn't even me that completely treated them. They were treated by oncologists as well. Yeah. So that aside, I've also had patients who live in a certain housing area who have abnormally hyperactive children, attention deficit hyperactive, and they also live near a substation. So you begin to wonder what is actually driving these children to be so hyperactive. And yeah,
And you can't directly link it to it, right?
no,
But if they usually when they move away from the environment, then you will see
yeah,
something changes,
yeah,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Just like the patient who decided to move away from his apartment.
Yeah. And these children, talk about the children that have ADHD or autism. Sometimes it might be from the pregnancy period, from when they
It
are
can
vulnerable.
start, but it's hard to trace back to that. But all these hyperactive children all are playing with gadgets, all live in that particular area next to a substation. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So one very important question: how to prevent it?
Yeah, that's the golden cat question, isn't
Yeah.
it? So I discovered something that helped me prevent EMFs and gave me very good sleep
Really?
and stopped my early morning headaches. So
I thought how to prevent it is to move to the hutan.
yeah, you can't live on a
Move to the forest.
mountaintop or in the middle of some jungle and be excluded from the world. You can't do that. So you need a practical way.
All right. Okay. So you guys, Dr. Juliana, about for 2-3 months ago, she started using a gadget called MGuard. Let me show you this one. If you guys don't know what is the MGuard, this is a gadget that can help block off the EMF from your house, right?
Your home is your sanctuary, a place of comfort, wellness, and security for your family. Today, we're using more digital and electronic devices. While they bring convenience and enjoyment, these devices also emit electromagnetic waves constantly during use. Invisible to our eyes, these electromagnetic waves affect the environment around us. As a result, we are exposed to these types of waves day in, day out. Introducing MGuard, a patented technology by Enagic. When turned on, MGuard neutralizes the electromagnetic waves within 1 gigahertz, creating a defense zone of 8 meters. MGuard harmonizes the environment around you, making it safe for you and your loved ones. Simply place it wherever it's needed and plug it into a dedicated USB port, whether you're on the go, at work, or in the comfort of your home. MGuard is designed to integrate seamlessly in any situation. You can now enjoy the benefits of technology without worrying about any potential risks. Protect your family's health and well-being. Contact your Enagic distributor today. MGuard. Change your environment, change your life.
So there is MGuard, and on my table here, I have one here too, okay? But Dr. Juliana, you have been using it for 2 months. So her house is now protected without any EMF. Now, what did you feel? Do you feel any difference when you first using it?
So the first couple of days, I think I would have had like a healing crisis from it. Yeah, so I woke up with a bigger headache, a little bit of nausea, but the third night onwards, I slept better, no more headaches, and yeah, I felt much better in the morning without waking up.
But before
so
that, how
tired.
was your sleeping pattern like?
I'd get up almost every hour, very restless. I couldn't reach
still
REM
working?
sleep. I couldn't reach REM sleep because
No deep sleep.
I'd remember every dream.
You can remember a dream.
So now even when I go to the washroom and back, and I'm like so drowsy that I want to go back into very deep sleep again, and I don't remember my dreams again.
Oh, you know mean now with the
Yes,
EMF
with
on?
my EMF on.
No, with the MGuard on,
MGuard, yeah.
you don't have much dreams.
I don't remember my dreams, so I'm in very deep REM.
Deep sleep.
Yeah.
So you wake up one time to go to the toilet, but
Yes.
that's it. But you
Correct.
still go back to sleep with good
Yes.
sleep, right? Before that, it's like 1-2 hours
Yes,
every.
I could barely sleep basically, and I remember every dream.
How long was that?
Oh, the longest time lah.
Did you see doctor? Sorry. About that?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sure it's not just you. I'm sure that there are
No,
many other
yes,
doctors have the same
correct.
situations,
Yeah,
right?
and even my husband has better sleep now.
Wow, now today
Yeah,
you have better sleep. But the first 2 days when you use, I remember the WhatsApp that you sent to us,
yeah,
you like you were like
yeah.
very bad, the
Yes, I
reaction.
had a bad reaction.
How was
Yeah.
that?
I know I was having a really bad headache and I felt very nauseous.
Mm,
Yeah, so it's some detox that was happening at that point, I think.
good point.
Yeah.
And that's for the first 2 days, right?
Yes, 2
After
days.
that, then everything is
Got
okay.
better. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So yeah, so there is MGuard, right? And just a quick explanation to you guys. If you don't know what is the MGuard, MGuard is a patented product. Right now is solely marketed by Enagic, which is a 49 years old Japanese company, right? So once it switch on, it actually protects you and gives you the 8 meters protection. And it's like a ball, like a sphere, right? So I usually put it in the on the floor of my first floor upstairs there. So actually that one will cover 2 floors, right? So 8 meters now. And once you switch it on, you don't need to do anything to it, just leave it on. And you just, for mine is 24 hours. We just leave it on, switch it on. Don't need to do any maintenance. There is no maintenance like that. And this gadget can be used for 5 years to 10 years, you know. People often ask, what happened after 5 years? What happened after 10 years? Now, this maybe the protection areas, the range might be shorter, you know, because this is over wear and tear. But apart from that, you don't need any what do you call this maintenance at all. Let me just show you a quick video. This is a couple months ago. We are on the road from Kuala Lumpur to Ipoh. I was speaking in Mandarin, so I just click on it. Look at the cars. Look at the cars. It is also full of EMF, right? We brought our MGuard. So the moment the MGuard will switch in, you switch on the MGuard, they cannot detect any EMF at all. So since this video, many people has been driving out stations using this MGuard.
And electrical cars would be worse, wouldn't it?
Yes, I am waiting for to do a video on EV cars, on pure EV cars. I'm just waiting for a chance to do it. But I did hear from friends that, you know, after long distance drive, sometimes they feel very heavy. Yeah, right. But this is it, right? I mean, after hearing this, I think some of you still don't mind buying an EV car. You will want one, right? But maybe you should consider getting your MGuard inside, put it inside there, right? Can travel with you anywhere. Okay, so this we give you 1 year warranty. Enagic gives you 1 year warranty, and there's no maintenance needed. You can pay in one lump sum, or some people just want to use credit card and get installment, right? That will be 276 ringgit per month for 24 months. If you are interested, just look for the friends that that invited you, and you can actually ask them for more information, right? So I want to stop my the video sharing here. We'll still chit chat with Dr. Juliana a little bit here. Right, so Dr. Juliana, so thank you so much for all these informations. Do you think is there any other important things that we might miss out here?
Well, I don't know. What would you like to know?
What would you like to know?
I think I
Okay,
covered
we do
every-
have a little bit of time here. So if you have any questions, okay, can you type it down in the chat box there?
Yes, I am drinking Kangen water.
Yeah, she is drinking Kangen water, right?
And I have a machine at my clinic as well.
Okay.
For my patients.
Okay, let me just look at some of the questions first. Okay, she saw this Daphne's question. Are you drinking Kangen water? Yes, she is. Is it part of your protocol in your holistic treatment for cancer patients?
It is suggested to them, but I cannot make them buy it. So we give them for free in my clinic. Yes.
Give it for free in clinic. What else do you do in your clinic? How do you use your Kangen water?
So I use it for wound care. We use a lot for wound care, especially with the strong acidic water, and for my diabetic wounds especially, it works beautifully well. Yeah.
So before that, you use what? You use medicines.
Oh, before that, I had to use the regular hydrogen peroxide and my other dressing materials. And interestingly, because I use a hydrogen generator as well for inhalation, we combine that with strong alkaline water for patients post-radiation, and we apply it directly to the skin, and the effect is wonderful. It actually reduces the burns of the skin and brings back the suppleness to the skin.
Okay, so what she says is she in her clinic she has all kinds of gadgets. Okay,
Yeah.
so one of it is the hydrogen machine, but the hydrogen machine is not just merely hydrogen gas. In fact, it is molecular hydrogen.
Yeah.
So that is the exact thing that you saw from your Kangen water, right? It's only that this is directly from the machine and it's for inhaling. And she has been combining this together with Kangen waters for her patients, right? Okay, yeah, right. Let me just look at the questions again. So if you have any questions, write down there, okay? If you cannot afford MGuard, what can you do? Yeah, we just mentioned that can move to the forest. That is the cheapest thing way to do. I mean, yeah, it's said, right?
So
I mean, it's not
yeah.
sarcastic, but we just have to be very careful. Just have to use less of electrical goods, lah. Yeah.
Some people use salt lamps and to reduce the ionizing radiation, but
What do you mean salt lamps?
we don't like Himalaya salt lamps, but we don't really we cannot measure the how much radius that it will cover. We can't tell it at all. Maybe next to a gadget it will help, but you can't carry a salt lamp around. You can't. So
yeah, and watch out if you guys are using a lot of LED lights. Actually, everyone uses LED lights, right? So LED lights is a source of EMF.
Very high EMF compared to mercury lamps or even the fluorescent lamps. They may be electricity saving, but they are not life saving. Yeah.
Oh, I like this. Okay, electricity saving, but not life saving, right? So watch out for that. Yeah. Okay. Structure water with balanced EMF protects us from 5G radiations. Will MGuard protect us from 5G radiations? Maybe
Of course it will.
let me help with this, okay? MGuard protect us from waves from 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz. That's our coverage area.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the reason why you when you switch on MGuard in your house, you have your 4Gs, right? You have your 4Gs, your landline, your Wi-Fi. They are still on because they are running at a higher shorter wavelengths, higher hertz but shorter wavelengths. However, 5G itself, it is not that bad. But when 5Gs the towers are on, right? Usually it emits, apart from the 5G signals, they also emit EMF. That is where we want to protect ourselves from 3 megahertz to 1000 megahertz, because according to a Federal Communications Committee, this is the authority in US, they says that our highest absorption rate for human being is between 30 to 300 megahertz. That's how MGuard protects us from. Okay. Now, okay, microwave, is it safe food and personal contact?
No, it's not. Microwave is actually very dangerous. It actually changes the molecules of food, and the water particles are still vibrating when you're eating it. So it's very bad. The radiation, it carries a lot of radiation.
Okay, good question. I like this question. Okay, let me read this question to you. My family doctor told me that electromagnetic field is of not concern to health because it is in small amount. Please help.
Oh dear.
Why is some doctors
I'm not talking bad about your family doctor and not discrediting your family doctor, but Maybe what the doctor meant was that small amount in front of you, but then if you gauge that you are surrounded by EMF and compounded have all your gadgets on, that's a lot of EMF. A lot of EMF. Yeah. And some of us work in that environment 12 to 16 hours a day. So just
All right. You put cactus in your working room,
that's
does it?
interesting.
Does cactus block EMF? I don't know. Okay.
No.
Yeah. All right.
Can
Can grounding help to shed off EMF? This Joyce asks.
Minimal amounts, yes.
Minimal amount, right?
Not entirely.
Okay. For this, I would like to share something with you, Joyce. Grounding is one way to discharge electricity
Yes.
into the ground, right?
Yeah.
But I have one experience this in Subang Jaya. Okay, I was in my friend's house. They were in the room, so we were playing with the detectors. So in the middle of room, no sound. But when you point the detector towards some of the gadgets like that, then it beeps, right? This is normal. But later on, my friend himself, he bring the detector, he walk around in his garden, and the detector was beeping like mad. Beep, 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 beep. It's in the garden, open space there. So I went out and checked with him. You know what we found out? We found this. When he is pointing towards outside, there's no beep. But whenever the detector was tuned towards the ground, then it beeps. You know what? That ground actually, that one I've checked with some of the technicians and they confirmed it that it's actually there is a lot of electrical cables underneath the whole area, So especially if you are city areas, this could be common. So there are few places in the city that is like that one. So I'm not sure. You tell me, is it safe to do grounding there or not?
Unless you go to the beach or
Yeah.
somewhere
So-
you're really sure that
So in
forest
short,
area.
grounding helps, but which area,
Which
right? Not
area,
all areas
correct.
grounding help, all right? Yeah. A little exposed to radiation goes a long way throughout years. Dr. Jason Chua. Okay, thank you. How about induction stove?
It's the same. You still have a little bit of, it's not as bad as the microwave. It isn't because it's using electricity to heat up something, but it will slowly emit EMFs as well, slight amount.
Okay. Well, we need to say cactus absorbs radiation cheapest way. Okay, I don't know whether it's true or not, but I don't mind having some cactus in my house. Okay, Vinny, right? Okay. Oh, okay. So just now the family doctor's question.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you answer lah.
All right. So Dr. Juliana was saying that, actually, if you look at case by case, the radiation is very small amount. That's what some doctors are saying about. But we should also think about the prolonged exposure. We are surrounded by gadgets. So some people always tell us that they say, "Hey, I don't charge my phone and my iPad in my room." That is a very good thing to do. But even if you are not charging your phone and your iPads, your gadgets in the room, your sockets is still next to you, right? The sockets next to you. Sockets are, sockets is a source of EMR. Sometimes we have our lights, right, on the left, on the right, and then you're gonna charge here, right? Do you know where the wire goes? The wires go through our hair, So this kind of places like that. So to answer that, yes, some doctors say that it's very little. And my friends also tell me that it's very little. Yes, this single case is very little. But over the years, if we stay in there, you just don't know what will happen, right? So that is why when we talk about MGuard, things like MGuard, when you put MGuard, where do you put? Places where you spend most of the time in. There's obviously it's your room, your sleeping room there. Okay, DK Tiong, we are all exposed to all kinds of radiation, maybe more when one stay near a substation, for example. Okay, MGAT also emits radiation, isn't it? Okay. Wow, that is a very technical questions, Tiong. You may have to ask with the technical people over there lah. But I would say that it's like this. With MGuard, it's obvious. When you switch on MGuard, there is no more electricity wave detected in your room. I think
But
that
it
answers
cannot
it.
cancel out ionizing radiation.
Yeah, it just cannot cancel out ionizing because it only cancels up to 1 gigahertz, right? 1000 megahertz. So anything up higher than that, that MGuard cannot help. But whatever is between 3 to 1000 megahertz, the end result is you just use a detector and you can find that there is no more EMF in that room lah. So I hope that answer that. There are people says that plants absorb radiations. Is that true?
To a certain extent.
Really? So
Yes.
that's why cactus are. Okay.
No, not in the house because you still have to ground. To the
Barefoot
ground.
in the house, does it help? Not in the house.
No.
Grounding must be on
The
grass, right?
grass, yes.
Grass room.
Sand
No,
grass.
not the artificial grass, okay.
Oh,
How about high tension
Same.
tower?
same.
Yeah. Move away.
Yeah.
Move away. All right. MGuard does protect you, right? But unless you want to bring MGuard here and there, everywhere you go, if you are near to high tension tower, may consider other place lah. Okay, we answered that already.
Yeah. The earpods. That's so bad.
Wireless Bluetooth. Okay, not good. We already said that. Huh?
Depends on their per square feet lah.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so thank you. MGuard cannot be charged, right? So MGuard, you need a stable electricity. The reason is you give them a stable electricity and it can give you a very big coverage area. Okay,
I think the last question was the healing crisis.
okay.
So if you asked about healing crisis, everyone has their own different healing crisis, but it's nothing too it's nothing too bad that the body won't be able to take. So mine was a little bit of an extra headache. Some people have a little bit of a tummy ache or a bit of nausea, but it doesn't last very long. It's a day or two. Drink. It's actually telling your body to drink more water because it's a detox reaction. You are 70% water, and that's how you detox as well. So yeah, and I am guilty of being not well hydrated. That's why probably my healing crisis took place. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we want to thank you, Dr. Juliana. Do you find these informations helpful, guys? Right. Okay. But you